What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet, and this is a follow-up to Wednesday's video in which we talked about Vox copy striking, not copyright flagging, not copyright claiming, but copyright striking Rich from Review Tech USA and Kyle from Bitwit. If you didn't see that video, let me summarize real quick what had happened. The Verge, back in September, uploaded a video called How to Build a PC, and it was filled with a bunch of cringy misinformation that would ultimately destroy any PC that you built using that information. The YouTube commentary community and the gaming community and the tech community all found this video, and they made videos reacting to it. I mean, there were hundreds of videos reacting to it, but for some reason, Vox, 6 months later, here in February, decided to copyright strike 2 of those videos. One from Rich Review Tech USA and from Kyle from Bitwit. I made a video about it, Rich made a video about it, Kyle made a video about it, and a bunch of other YouTubers made a video about it, and Vox was very quick to respond. They removed those strikes within about 24 hours. So, credit where credit is due. Congratulations, Vox, for doing the right thing. However, they also issued a statement alongside this action, and I want to deep dive that statement today because it is embarrassingly bad. This got posted to The Verge today, and it says, "A note about YouTube copyright strikes from Vox Media." It starts off by saying, "I want to address a situation around some YouTube copyright strikes, since redacted, issued by The Verge and Vox Media that has gotten pretty toxic, and could have been avoided if the parties involved had simply reached out to me directly." So we're starting off on the wrong foot immediately, by the way, because I don't need to reach out to you to criticize something. That's the entire reason fair use laws exist, is so that we can either educate or criticize or review something. I don't need to reach out to you to talk to you about responding to one of your videos, to a statement you made, to a thing that you did. I don't need your permission to do that. And H3H3's court case has proven that legally that is not something you have to do. If you want to react to something, if you want to show snippets of something you were reacting to something you were criticizing, for educational or entertainment purposes, you're allowed to do that under copyright law. But maybe that's not what he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about the way Rich and I and Kyle reacted by making YouTube videos about it rather than going to him directly. But that's the thing. You didn't go to those YouTubers directly. You didn't email them and ask them to remove the content or to discuss it with them. You used the copyright system. So can you blame those YouTubers for using their power and their prowess to discuss this issue publicly, to shame you publicly, because you had made a huge mistake? You had done an injustice to them. You didn't go directly to them first, so of course they didn't go directly to you. Early this week, a number of YouTube reaction videos were flagged to Vox Media's legal team, who are very diligent and protective of our work. 2 of them were reactions to a PC build video we had made several months ago, which I determined did not meet our standards and had been pulled from YouTube. These 2 reaction videos used 90% of our footage without any edits, cuts, or otherwise transformative use. And one of them in particular featured what our legal team felt was a pretty, I don't even want to say this word, character. Our legal team felt this was not fair use and issued a copyright strike request to YouTube for those 2 videos. A number of other very critical videos were not responded to in any way. All right, there's a lot to unpack here, but the very first of which is you are not a hero for deciding to do this not unilaterally, okay? That's one of the biggest issues here, is the fact that you picked 2 videos that you didn't specifically like, one of which you felt had a character in it that you didn't like, and if that is true about that character, then obviously I condemn that character. I don't support that kind of thing. But regardless, you picked 2 videos that you didn't like and struck those while leaving others up. That is the abuse of the system. You didn't do it unilaterally. If somebody liked your video, if somebody used 90% of the footage and liked the video and reviewed it positively, would you have left those up? See, it kind of needs to be an all or nothing system. Either you don't like people using your work or you do like people using your work. You don't get to pick and choose. We've seen that kind of abuse in the past. Obviously, we had this situation where the Firewatch developer decided they didn't like PewDiePie anymore, so they copyright striked PewDiePie's gameplay of his video, even though they let everybody else continue to share that gameplay. We saw Lionsgate do this to Angry Joe. Angry Joe getting all of his videos copyright claimed by Lionsgate because he's very critical of their movies. Meanwhile, positive reviews of those trailers, of those movies, were left untouched. So obviously, that is not a good thing. You can't say you're the hero for doing that. But ignoring that, let's take a look at the argument they had against Rich's video, saying that it used 90% of their original footage, and that's something they took issue with. What they're talking about here is the effect upon the work's value, saying that since he showed 90% of the work, that there would be no reason for you to go find the original video. But in this case, Vox decided to delete this video. They decided that the perceived value of that video was a big fat goose egg. It was worth nothing. So how do you remove value from a video you yourself have decided is worthless, that you don't want the world to see? And Rich's work was also transformative in nature, and that's another huge tenet of fair use. He was supplying a different point of view. He was supplying the correct information. He was supplying where you were making mistakes. And he was doing this by transforming the work, by putting his face in the corner, by talking over and pausing and starting the footage. This is something Rich had done. And the video, while it was the topic of Rich's video, was only a small portion of Rich's video, because his video was 37 minutes long. Vox's original video was only 11 minutes long. So if he played it in its entirety in his live stream, then guess what? He still did 3 times the work. YouTube notified the 2 channels in question, said there was a chance our request wouldn't make it through, and asked our legal team for their case. Our team made the case. YouTube agrees the videos were not fair use and issued the strikes. This, I think, is an outright lie. I do not believe that for a second, because I know a lot of people at YouTube. I've talked to a lot of people at YouTube about copyright, and they do not like to get involved. They only play referee. They try to make sure that corporations and copyright holders have options that they can then choose to use. But I would doubt very sincerely that YouTube sent you an email that says, this is absolutely not fair use, and we've decided to stand for you and protect you in a court of law. Absolutely not. In fact, YouTube has done quite the opposite. They have defended someone like Jim Sterling and his use of fair use when it comes to this exact kind of video. So I find it very highly suspect. And if it is true, then it's just one random person at YouTube who just doesn't know what YouTube is doing in general. When this was brought to my attention a few hours later, I told them that although I fully agreed with their legal argument, I did not think we should use copyright strikes against legitimate channels, even if we thought the videos crossed the line. And again, I fully agree with our legal team that these videos crossed the line of fair use. Just let me say that you need new lawyers, because apparently you're being represented by the same idiots who represented Bold Guy in court. And they lost. But this next segment is the reason I wanted to make this video. This is something I really want to talk about, because as someone who's accused of playing the victim all the time, I am acutely aware of this kind of behavior, because I try to spot it in myself, and I certainly spot it in other people. One thing I did not do was tweet about it, because I didn't think the nuance of this situation would lend itself to tweets, and also, quite honestly, because I didn't think it was a big deal. Hey, aren't you a journalist? Couldn't you have written an article about it? Regardless, these were strikes, and the strikes were retracted. I assume everyone would move on. I did, however, respond to every single person who reached out to me directly. I know it's everyone's, because only 3 people actually did that. And again, I want to reiterate, the reason nobody did that is because you did not do that. You did not email Rich. You did not email Kyle. You did not use that system. You used the copyright system, a very impersonal system. You chose the way that this would be handled, okay? That's how your team decided to handle this. So we responded accordingly. But he goes on to say, the Verge's YouTube channel has since been brigaded with dislikes and nasty comments, and there are now death threats we have to think about. Here's one, and this is J. Smith Nevin Sky says, good luck staying alive, the internet doesn't forget. I hate this so much, because as someone who has received legitimate death threats, and I don't mean YouTube comments that say good luck staying alive, I mean people who have taken pictures of my home and emailed them to me, people who have taken hits out on me on the Tor network, people who've genuinely wanted me dead. This is not a death threat. This is not a death threat. This is a YouTube comment. Out of all the comments that you got, this is the one you cherry-picked. This is the one that you played for sympathy. This is the one that you decided was the worst-case scenario. And he's not even talking about you personally. You said this was left on the Vox or the Verge's YouTube channel. He's referring to your media company, because this behavior is self-destructive for your media company. The internet doesn't forget. They won't forget, and they won't click on things that show your logo. They won't click on things on your YouTube channel or on your articles in the news. They will ignore your media company because they're going to remember something like that. That's what he's talking about. This is not a threat to you. If you've ever received an actual threat, you'll know what it looks like, and this ain't it. Finally, he does something I do agree with. He says, "This is all pretty disappointing, especially since I had retracted the strikes and none of the people involved thought it important enough to simply ask me about it. I hope everyone involved can take a moment and think about making sure they actually know what they think they know and the value of communicating directly instead of simply reacting." I agree. Personal communication would have been a much better way to handle this if only Kyle and if only Rich had gotten an email to discuss it first. Maybe this wouldn't have got out of hand. I agree with you there. And again, what is so frustrating about all of this is how hypocritical this is, because The Verge and Vox Media literally reacts to things for a living. They write news articles about stuff other people are doing. They interview them. They take photos. They talk about it. They criticize. They criticize YouTube as a platform. They criticize YouTubers individually. This is something they do every day. It is the basic building block of their business model, but when we do it, they don't like it. Looking at this article about PewDiePie, for example, I don't see a photo credit here. You're using 100% of this photo, which destroys the value of it. Did you reach out to Felix and talk to him before you posted this article on December 17th? Did you reach out to Felix and ask his permission? I don't think so. Maybe, just maybe, moving forward, we could stop abusing the copyright system to get back at each other. Maybe, just maybe, we could stop criticizing each other altogether. Maybe we could just coexist. Is that something you're interested in doing? Because that's what we're doing over here right now. Until you mess with us, I was never going to talk about you. I never was. And you made me by choosing to abuse the copyright system. So maybe just leave us alone and I'll go back to leaving you alone. And that would be great. Or alternatively, we can just call this what this really is. We can call it a culture war. And we can remind everybody that a few years ago when YouTube started getting big, you were the ones who fired the first shots. Just saying. Alright guys, I know this video is very different from what I normally do, and it has a different tone, but this is something I'm very frustrated with. This is something I'm very passionate with, and I've been trying to choose over the last month or so videos that I am passionate about, things that I am excited about, and bring that energy to these videos. Kind of tired of doing the whole, even keel, not offering my opinion, Gloria Burger kind of thing. I want to start bringing the heat. I want to start bringing my actual opinion, and I want to start choosing topics that I genuinely care about. And if you enjoy that, I want to know. Let me know in the comments section below. While you're down there, drop a like on this video so YouTube knows you liked it. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, all you got to do is hit subscribe. And if you do that, you can also hit that notification bell so you can be part of the notification squad and be one of the very first people to show up when I post a new video. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I'll speak with you again soon. And I mean that to the folks over at Vox. We all make mistakes.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. Be better.